Hello, this is Ricky Deal, and welcome to the second edition of Chit Chat with the third power to the Sunn. Coming up, Dawg and I bump heads as we discuss the release of our band's newest project. Directly after the Sniper Report, listen to our single, We Need a Solution. And don't forget Anishka Dobbs with the crazy news, and also Jay Money with the entertainment report. Welcome again to Chit Chat with Third Power to the Sunn, with our crew, Cebu, Dawg, and myself. I hope you have a good time.
All right, now you saying that a person don't have to have a main project in order to get known, or if he's doing music, he's trying to make a break in the music business, and if he's got his own material that he's writing, and this is what he do on a daily basis, that he just need to sit on all this material, but if he can find a way to get it out there, he don't need to do that right then.
I didn't say it that way. That's not what I was talking about.
But what are you talking about?
What I'm saying is this. When an artist initially comes out, a lot of time he has maybe a single, or then after that maybe a follow-up single. Then eventually that artist will do a complete album. Most artists will start out, doing a single or maybe doing a follow-up single.
It depends on the artist. It depends on the individual. Everybody is not gifted and don't hold the same mentality or gift. Everybody. So you got some people who are very creative, and they got brand new stuff. Everybody's digging it. And it's money making. Do you actually think a record company if it's sit there and say, no, we're gonna let you go out and just one or two sing? They do people like that do not write for themselves. People that just perform. They don't have no choice. And a lot of times they can have people write for them, and these people, what they write is still not doing them no good. It's a difference in between gift. You take people like Jimi Hendrix put out an album within 6 months. 6 months after he got in London, England. That's what Chas Chandler told me.
Was that his first project?
That was his first project. Are You Experienced? He went over there in September of 1966, and by the middle of 1967, the album was out. Are You Experienced? Followed up in January of 68 with Axis Bold as Love. September of 68, Electric Ladyland. Why? Because Jimmy was very creative.
Okay,
he wrote all the time.
When his album came out, had anybody heard of Jimi Hendrix at that time?
Not over here, but when his album came, he exploded. He exploded big. Everybody knew about Jimmy.
I thought before the album came out.
People knew Jimmy as a sideman in America. He had played with a lot of different people. But no, he wasn't well known. But the chance that they signed him over in London, it took off like wildfire. When he came back to the Monterey Pop Festival in 67 and played, he hadn't been home in 2 years or a year. They brought him back. He blew minds that first night in Monterey. He was a star right then. Jimmy, he came over with the rest of the London acts like The Who. Janis Joplin, she was making her first appearance. Otis Redding was there that night.
So what you basically saying though, you say he was with other artists. He had played with other artists. That
was before he went to London.
But he had played on other albums and played on other singles and things like that.
Yeah, but he was a backup musician. He was a backup musician. Nobody gave him a chance. He got a chance by Linda Keith, who was Keith Richards' girlfriend, who saw him in the Village playing at the Cafe War, and then she brought Chas Chandler down, and he looked at him and he saw, wow, I can make him a star, but I can't do it in America, but I need to take him back to London. And then Jimmy agreed to go because he wanted to, he really wanted to get a shot. And they set him up, and he took off like wildfire.
So he initially did an album before he did any singles or anything like that.
Of course, they initiated a single, but the album was right behind the single. It wasn't no.
And that's what I'm saying. I wasn't saying just go on your first single or your first follow-up single.
What I'm trying to
and
tell
just promote that.
You can't sit on a single a whole year and got people waiting on an album.
If you understand the business, I can understand that. Yeah.
But see, that's what I'm telling you. When you got a chance, if you got something, you need to get it out there. And most of the record companies will do that. They'll put out a single. A lot of times they only put out one single because they really don't have no more material to give you. You rocking this, but this just by chance.
But you remember back in the day, they used to put out 12-inch singles. And then there was one point in time where they had like 1 or 2 singles on a CD.
Yeah, they would do that. They would do that. But what I'm saying, you can't ride that a whole year. You know what I'm saying? This is the way I used to see it. Back when I was disc jockeying, when I was a DJ doing house parties, back when you used to go buy the 45s. The 45 would come out maybe a month before the album did. You see what I'm saying? If Earth, Wind & Fire put out a single, Serpentine Fight, well, the album, all in all, everybody knew in 30 days it's going to hit the shelf. And the reason that the 45 is out there first, the 45 single, because the radio has already got their promotional copy and they already, playing it. So, okay, we can sell the 45, but we got to have the album released. But for a person to run around a whole year with just a single, because sooner or later the single gonna die. Now, if it's a great one, hit wonder, it may do well. But believe me, he gonna have to do more than a single. But some people, that's all they have.
Mm-hmm.
Prince came out with his album Soft and Wet in 1977.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Soft and Wet. I'm talking about the whole album.
Mm-hmm.
8 songs.
I remember that.
They were very lengthy songs. Produced his own first album.
Your kind of length, 7, 8, 9 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, because he's creative. He had a lot to say.
I hear you. Yeah,
he got a lot to say. If you got a lot to say, then you need that kind of time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you ain't got nothing to say, if you can't take people through different segments in your music, I mean, if you just doing a verse, a hook, a chorus, a verse, a run, and that's the end. I mean, if all your songs is like that, then yeah, they probably be limited to about 3 minutes, 2 minutes a piece, or something like that. But if you got a lot of expressions and you can write variations, where maybe you got for instance, Pete Townshend of The Who, when he did, I forget the name of that Saga piece he did, it was something like opera, rock opera. It was something, Tommy. When he did Tommy, you don't know nothing about that. Tommy.
Giving away our age, we'll talk about the 45s.
No, I'm saying that, but the music that they played, just like Sgt. Pepper's Club by the Beatles. Yeah, it's different segments that they take you in. They take a song.
Kind of more like Queen, kind of like
yeah,
Queen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Queen. I love some Queen.
They got different segments in the song, variation, changes. They take you out of one rhythm groove and take you into another. They may slow it down, speed it up, go into something that sound like it's opera, come back with some jazz, come back with some Latin, all in one song. Duke Ellington used to do it. And with his big band. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it depends on the person that's creative. Mm-hmm. So if you creative and you got it like that, hits coming and coming and coming and coming, hey, single, what is a single gonna do for you? I mean, you got so much, man. You know what I mean?
I could understand. I see what you're saying. I see
Look what he did. 3 albums in 1 year. I remember when Parliament Funkadelic had 3 albums out in 1 year. Flashlight, One Nation and a Groove. That's 2 different albums out in 1 year, but by the same people. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Very creative. Very creative.
But guess what? Guess who's coming up next?
Who?
You know who that is. Sniper Report.
Oh, Sniper.
It's a sports report.
We're ready to shoot another person down with some sports. Okay.
Welcome all the listeners from around the world. This is your boy, the Sniper, and this is the Sniper Report. All right. So, in terms of big time sports, everybody is still talking about the Triple G Canelo Alvarez middleweight championship fight. The fight ended in a draw. Now, nobody ever wants a boxing match to end in a draw. But the big controversy about it is one of the judges, Adelaide Bird, had to score 118 to 110. Now, if you would have said 115, 113, 114, 113, everybody could have been okay with that. But they were just like, man, this is ridiculous. And some of the people, the critics, say that she has had some bad scores like that in previous fights that she worked as well. I mean, you got George Foreman, the Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya. They coming out there like, hey, man, what was she looking at? So, but both sides want a rematch, and as much money as they making in this pay-per-view boxing these days, but we going to see a rematch in the future. All right, next big thing right now, look, college football. Alabama and Clemson are on top, 1 and 2. And look, I think we headed for another championship football game with Alabama and Clemson. I mean, both of them, they just look better than everybody else. So everybody, get your mind right, because that's how it's going to go down. Now, one thing I want to also look at in terms of college football, a lot of times FBS teams play FCS, and it's a money game. Now, FCS, that used to be the old Division I AA. So, you know, they get probably a few $100,000 and go play a big-time school. A lot of times they get blown out because they just can't compete. But I just want to point out that my North Carolina A&T State University Aggies beat UNC Charlotte 35-31. So they went and represented for the smaller schools. So, look, kudos to them and keep rolling because, hey, athletes got to understand, compete, never give up. Look, I've got to run. Let me throw it back to the crew and my boy Ricky Deal. All right? Until later, this is the Sniper. Bye.
Thank you, Sniper. And that's your sports headlines. Check out our track, We Need a Solution.
We need a solution. place called solidarity. Love is all we need. Hey, oh, why can't we just love each other? Why can't we do it? Why can't we do it? Why can't we live like sisters and brothers? We need a solution. The world's in confusion. Can't solve the problems of the wrong, or to talk about building a wall. We need it. We keep searching for a better way to unite the human race. We need it. Oh, we need. Say we need it. Love we need. Said we need, yeah, love we need. Said we need.
All right, it's that time. It's Dawg with Artist Talk.
Artist talk. What artist you want me to talk about?
Steely Dan.
Oh, Steely. Steely Dan, Donald Fagen, Walter Becker.
And hey, 19.
Yeah. Hey 19, Josie,
And
Deacon
Peg.
Blues, Peg. Those guys are, I tell you, man, they are some of the most genius cats you ever want to, run into. I mean, I love their music. I got every project that they ever put out. I got it, top to bottom. Believe it or not, I did a real good genuine study on Steely Dan. I grew up listening to Steely Dan, because that was a time when, before there was black radio, you had to listen to the pop songs in order to get to the soul music, on the radio station. So I, learned to fall in love with Steely Dan. Ricky Don't Lose That Number. That's from the Present Logic album.
I remember that.
And then the first album that they came out with was called, where they had the song called Do It Again. I'm thinking about Raw Scam, but that was not the name of it. Not Countdown. Countdown to Ecstasy was the second album. I'm trying to think of the first album. Ain't that something? Wow. I can't even think of it. The first album. But it had Do It Again, Reeling Through the Years was on that album. I can't think of it. It'll come to me. But anyway, they also had the Katy Live album. That's the one with Black Friday on it. And of course, Asia. That's one of my favorite ones. That's the one with Deacon Blues. You ever hear Deacon Blues? Deacon Blues, Peg, Black Cow. Then the one CB was just saying a while ago, Hey 19, that's come from the Gaucho album. And they had a song there called Time Out of Mind. And then Donald Fagen did a solo project. He was a keyboard player. I like Donald. Now you think I'm a perfectionist. You better not never go in the studio with Steely Dan. I mean, they had top-notch musicians that said, if I ever get out of this recording section, I don't care how much money they got. They will never pay me because they will go over something over and over and over. And Donald will be like, nah, man, it's not the right guitar lick. And we talking about guys like Larry Carlton, who was a great guitarist. Elliot Randall, all these guys, man, great guitarists, bass players. Bernard Purdy, who was a jazz drummer, You don't know Bernard Purdy, do you?
Not
Y'all know
off the top
Bernard
of my
Purdy?
head. Not off the top of my head.
Hear him tell it. He used to do the Purdy Shuffle. If you listen to a lot of Steely Dan songs, it's like Home at Last. It's got this shuffle beat to it.
Okay.
And he said he's famous for that. But anyway, Donald Fagen comes out of East Orange, New Jersey. I want to say his partner, Walter Becker, I think is from Pennsylvania. I'm not for sure. But they both are from the Northeast. They met up in college. They was college guys who started a band. And what they did, they went into the band. When they got in the band, they were so dominant at writing music, and they had such big personalities that, you know, they kind of just like took over the band. And then when they did form Steely Dan, they started out with 6 members, and by the time I say 1978, when they came out with Asia, they was down to 2 members. That was just Donald and Walter. Like I said, man, they are great guys. They've been in the music business look like forever. But you talking about jazz? That, you know, a lot of people when you say Steely Dan, you think about, oh, that's a rock group. Nah, you can't say they jazz. You can't. You can say they jazz, but you can't say they rock. You can't really put a. They got so much in their music, The last project that I heard from them was Everything Must Go. I got that. And then Donald Fagen came out with one called Morph the Cat.
Morph the Cat.
Yeah, that's dealing with death.
Okay.
Yeah, it's their albums always told a story. If you listen to their lyrics, it was just, each song is just like watching an episode or a movie or something. It tells a story. I think, you know, what it was, Walter came up with a lot of the lyrics, and Donald came up with a lot of the piano, you know, the music. Donald's a great keyboard player. Reminds me of me, except we're different colors, you know. But, you know, I mean, I'm serious. Me and him about the same size, you know. We into the same people's, cause he liked it. I heard him talk in the book, Steely Dan book. They got out. He talked about he was into Miles Davis, Charles Mingus, you know, Bird, Coltrane. I mean, he was really into jazz. They really into jazz, man. So for those of you, whenever Steely Dan come to your town in concert, you need to go check them out. They're a true scientific musical genius.
And they're legends.
Very big time legend. Don't try to sample their music. I think we had some rapsters learn a lesson about that when they tried to sample Black Cow.
Wow.
I still can't think of this first album. Ain't that something?
Oh.
Now I don't need you to tell me. Don't look it up. It will come to me. It will come to me. Oh man, I can't think of it. Like I said, what's coming to mind is Countdown to Ecstasy. That was the second album. That's the one with My Old School, Pearl of the Quarter. If I had time, I would play some Steely Dan, you know, live for y'all. But nah, we'll pay homage another time. But that's it for artists.
Well, you can give them a little bit.
Nah, I'd give them another time. I got to get permission from Donald and them first.
Well, all right. That's Dawg with the artist talk. Steely Dan, one of the greatest, legendary musician and composers that are still living.
Yep.
So, if you ever, as he said, if you ever catch Steely Dan nearby or in your town, make sure you go to see him. All right, now let's keep it moving. I guess we'll pause right here. Guess what?
What?
We got Anishka Dobbs with the crazy news.
Crazy news every day.
Hello, everyone. It's Anishka Dobbs coming live from the city of Oaks in Raleigh, North Carolina. and this is your crazy news. In Colorado Springs, police officers are looking for a woman being called the Mad Pooper. She's a jogger who has been caught regularly taking poops in front of houses for weeks. The Colorado Springs Police Department is now searching for the mysterious woman after neighbor complaints. It's abnormal. It's not something I've seen before in my career, says Colorado Springs Sergeant Nathan Charchetti. For someone to repeatedly do such a thing, it's uncharted territory for me. Well, when you gotta go, you gotta go. But not in my front yard, doggone it. That lady ain't going in my front yard now. I ain't got time for it. A California grandfather meant business when a stranger jumped on rooftops, causing an hour-long police standoff on Tuesday. Williard Burgess, an 83-year-old, was at home when a man the police was chasing jumped on his rooftop and refused to come down. The guy had jumped on several rooftops in the neighborhood. Burgess got angry, and he was impatient with the situation, so he borrowed his neighbor's ladder and told the officers he was climbing onto the roof. "That sucker's coming off," he told the police. The grandfather approached and shoved the man off his roof and ended the hours-long standoff. It's not known whether the unidentified man, who police say was either mentally ill or on drugs, was seriously injured. Police said he was taken to the hospital for a mental health evaluation. So, rooftop jumpers beware of an 83-year-old rooftop security guard. He is not playing. A gas station robber's getaway car ran a field in LaPorte, Indiana. Police said a man implied that he had a gun and robbed a gas station, making off with food, drinks, and cigarettes. Well, while he was still in the stealing spirit, maybe he should have stolen some gas for the car. The Northwest Indiana Times reports that a state trooper arrested 33-year-old Sean Harris on Wednesday after finding him stranded on the side of a two-lane highway with his car out of gas. Police say the man's blood alcohol level was well above the legal limit. Harris had plenty of time to go back through his checklist to determine what went wrong, as he remains in jail. Maybe he'll even find a new career. Please leave comments below and tell me what you think of these stories. Back to the crew. Hey, Dawg.
Thank you very much, Aniska Dawg, for the crazy news. Now, here's J Money with the entertainment news.
What's happening, podcast family? You know what? I missed y'all, man. Hey, it's your boy J Money. I'm flowing through. I got the entertainment headlines for you. Hey, starting off, something that's not funny. I know Kevin Hart is a funny man, but this situation is not. Actually, it's been reported by multiple sources that Kevin Hart had a little trife. It wasn't with his wife, who is pregnant. So sources are saying that he was caught in a compromising position in Vegas about a month ago with a woman, and somehow a tape is leaked out. Not only is a tape out there, but someone is actually attempting to extort him as well for money. Now, the person that's at the center of it as well, the accomplice, her name is Montia, and I'm going to say Sabic. Montia Sabic is actually saying that she did have a little fling with him, but she's not a part of any extortion plan. She's hired an attorney as well. Kevin Hart tried to get in front of it. He tried to come out and give an apology on Instagram, and he apologized to his wife and kids, and basically said that he needs to do better. So the irony of it is he actually divorced his prior wife because he cheated on her with the woman that he's married to now, who is pregnant, and now he's cheating on her as well. So I don't know, man. Kevin Hart, you got to get it together, bro. So next up is actually a report coming out stating that Jay-Z, who also came out in the media on his CD as well, and said that he had a little fling, on Beyonce, and I guess she's accepting his apology. But needless to say, reports are coming out as well that Kanye and Jay-Z are looking to patch up their beef that they have going on. Now, if you recall, last fall, Kanye got on stage and was blasting Jay-Z. I mean, it all stemmed from him feeling that, Jay-Z never came to check on him when Kim got robbed in Paris. So, instead of calling, and speaking Jay-Z man to man, he wants to get on stage and wants to, blast him. So, but I think what actually pushed it over the top, and this is what Jay-Z is saying as well, what pushed it over the top was the fact that he called out Beyonce and called out their daughter, Blue Ivy, too. So, it's one thing to go after Jay, but now you're going to bring the family into it. And, it's a no-no. A shout out to Donald Glover, man. Hey, this dude is making strides. He actually won an Emmy for directing a comedy, which is Atlanta. But not only, now that's special in itself, but what sets it apart from all the other Emmys is he's the first black director to do so. Hey, that's major, man. So, big shouts out to Donald Glover. Not only did he win for Best Director, he also won for Best Actor in the same series as well. So, hey, he's doing big things, man, putting Atlanta on the map. Hey, this is my time. I definitely appreciate y'all. Once again, please give us all the feedback, comments, and, hey, back to the crew. C-Boo, it's on you.
Thanks, Jay Money, for that entertainment report. Okay, Ricky D, go ahead and close it out.
Hey, thanks for hanging out with us. We definitely hope you come back. Next time, we will have an additional feature with Walter T. Johnson III entitled, It's Just My Opinion. That should be pretty interesting. So once again, on behalf of C-Boo, Dawg, and myself, God bless, and we look forward to you being with us again.